finally, we're going to talk about the challenges of an urban world for the human geography paper. Again, another question which was done pretty well on the whole, with the exception of the final bit. And the first part of this was outline the evidence for increasing urbanisation between 1970 and 2015. Basically, we were looking for the fact that the proportion's changing, and then you needed some data to support it. You can see on the right there that there's some evidence of an example and how those marks were achieved. Fairly straightforward question, just make sure that you use the data to support you. Next bit, explain why. There was two reasons. Ignore the model answer on the right, it's wrong. There's two reasons behind why. You've got rural to urban migration, and then an example of a push or pull factor which will go with that, and then you've got natural increase is high, which could be down to the fact that death rates are falling. Again, quite a straightforward question. It's about making sure that you get those ideas and then develop them though, which is the critical thing. Final question is the 8 mark, which means that you're going to be tested on your spelling, punctuation and grammar on here as well. Examine the success of strategies used to improve the quality of life in cities in the developing world. Critical word there, strategies, it's pluralised, therefore we're looking for a number of different ideas. Those level 3 answers, response has at least 2 explanations. Examples are used with some detailed descriptions, some examination of the success of the strategies. For example, by evaluation. So why was it successful? How was it successful? To what extent was it successful is what we're looking for there. The example on the right got 4. And the reason behind why is it goes off on a little bit of a tangent. What you can see is if you read the first section, it talks about Curitiba, talks about the integrated bus scheme and then how that's successful and how that improved quality of life because it meant that they could afford to get to work. That was important. It then started to wander off. Now, a lot of you did quite well on this, but you didn't necessarily get full marks because you didn't consider the success of the scheme. So read through your answer, look at the mark scheme, and then think about what it is that you didn't do in terms of development to be able to get full marks on this question. Often it was either use of specific details or it was lack of evaluation, a lack of that examination of the successes of the scheme. Read through your answer, think what you can do to improve. Finally, we've got an example of a different question you could be asked, which is very straightforward. Examine the effectiveness of strategies to manage the challenge of urbanisation in the developed world. It's just a flip question of the question which you've just done. Okay, have a go at that and then finish.